What's up, junkies? Welcome back in for another edition of Pigskin Junkies. Myself, Michael Larson, Big Brother Jared Larson, and Scott Panza all on the show today to recap.
Woo!
Scott's feeling great.
I actually just watched the 1 hour replay on NFL Network, and it was, oh man, so exciting to watch, but actually really frustrating watching it because they left so many plays out there, and we're just lucky that our defense was just stellar on Sunday because we left so many points out there. We dominated the field position of the game, and we couldn't get it in the red zone. It was just so many missed opportunities. Wade Phillips had it dialed up, and I was shitting all over Marcus Peters, and he didn't get beat at all this weekend. They beat Roby Coleman plenty, but just very glad we won that game. Chops, we did okay, but the big cheese was on the path to win, and that's what we got. That's what we got, baby.
I just want to say I came in with the prop bets big. But did you guys hear about the controversy with the anthem? I was dripping the anthem. I was sitting there. Everyone, I'm at this party, and I'm sitting here with my timer out on my phone, just up against the speaker because everyone's talking so loud, and they're like, "Why do you care?" I'm like, "You don't understand."
Yeah, like, shut up, dude.
I have a serious problem.
What? Hold on, so I forgot, Micah. Did you send that picture to me or both Scott and I of Bovada being down?
It was down
2 minutes before kick.
They gave everyone like 10 free bucks to play or something like that in the second half. I don't know. It was weird.
Can you imagine how much money that cost them, though, as like a business?
Oh, I was getting ready to go in and drop a lot of prop bets. Minutes before the adrenaline was pumping, and I had an itch. and just wanted to do it.
You and everybody else across the country. I guess that's what I'm saying. Like, astronomical cost to their business.
Oh, 100%. And
I didn't see the anthem. We were coming from the zoo.
Ooh.
And I did get the kickoff, but not the anthem.
So
or heads or tails.
It was tails, which I bet. Winner. Tails never fails. It never does. But the controversy.
Except last year when it was heads.
Yeah.
But,
I was sitting there, so like I was saying, I was watching the anthem, and I'm like, all right, come on. And she starts like, and the home with like, I think it was 25, 30 seconds, and I think it was 147 she had to beat. And I'm sitting there like, come on, baby, hold this last note. Like, just hold on.
She held it for 20 seconds?
Well, I mean, that was when she started that last, like, segment of the anthem at that. And so I'm like, all right, just hold on to it.
Stretching for it there, Gladys.
But apparently she said brave twice.
Yep.
So that's what caused the controversy is if it was based off of the end of the first brave, it was under. But if it was when the song actually ended and she stopped holding that last brave, it was well over by like 10, 15 seconds. So they just ended up most sites just ended up paying out both over and under.
Gladys probably had the over and was like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
I heard there was some leaks coming out right at the end, and sharp money was coming in on the over. And they were all, I love it, sharp money coming in on the over of the national anthem.
National anthem.
I just can't believe some of these books take these props, because isn't it like it's so ripe for insider info to crush them. So why would they even take it?
I think they look at it as a lost leader.
Just
like when Walmart sells something for $1 that costs them $1.50 to buy or source.
Just get them in the door.
Just say get them in the door, baby. Yeah, make that deposit, because you're gonna have the clicky fingers once you bet that.
Just got to get them there, and then get a couple drinks in them, and then they're just hammering wood on the second half over.
That's correct.
On the Super Bowl and just pissing it all away. Micah, you wanted to bet second half over. Did you end up taking it?
No, I didn't.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I mean I
did.
I
did. I had under game, so I had a little hedge, but
that's fair. Every time this week I tried to do something, I would talk myself out of it immediately. And I was happy I listened to to golfer number 2 this week instead of golfer number 1. It was phenomenal. And every time I was like, I really don't want to pick the Pats. And I know, I'm sorry, Scott, but I was like, this just has a feeling of the turning of the page, maybe the new regime. And I would just talk myself out of it. I was like, man, that Rams D-line, they're really good. But so is the Chargers D-line. They made them look bad too. And, every single thing I was like, well, but this, but that. And so I hit all my bets, actually, this past weekend. So if I would have hit a parlay, that would have been nice. But hindsight 2020, obviously.
Micah, don't you know the Pats are still there? Haven't you been listening?
Everyone's doubted them for so long. So many non-believers.
Oh man, come on, don't pile on the hate. They just made us a lot of money all postseason.
By the way, I didn't put that on Action App. I'm gonna put it on there today, so all of you haters can eat it and listen to the podcast, because we couldn't have made it any clearer who we were taking for mega units.
I think honestly though, it's pretty impressive when the three of us are all on the same brainwave. I don't think we've lost.
It's don't jinx it for next year.
Yeah, I was like, holy shit, extra fade sauce starting in week 1.
So, Mike, are you going to do Super Contest next year? Are you going to have an entry?
I'm probably not going to do Super Contest, but I will. I kind of like to slowly work my way into it before I get into the big dog competition. So next year, I think I'll just be actually playing games on Sundays, where this year I really didn't bet any. But I'll definitely be back in the William Hill contest for college football for next season. So
we might do a different one for college too, but I will. Yeah, we'll have to explore that later.
So let's get some Super Bowl thoughts. Jerry, let's hear them.
Well, so I'm watching the game in San Diego at this bar, like with my pregnant wife, and people are looking at me like, "This what an asshole this guy is. He's making his pregnant wife like stand at the bar while he crushes drinks." But I told Haley, I said, Hogan's getting the targets. I mean, he was getting the looks. What do you have, 6 targets? And we had over 3.5 catches, I think.
Yep.
I looked at the stats after the game. Edelman was like 8 targets, 7 catches. Gronk was 5 and 4. I mean, for whatever reason, there was a couple bad throws by Tommy Boy.
That first one was bad. Yeah,
that I think just cost a little bit of rhythm, and even they had a nice chance at that first touchdown, which would have been a nice payday too. So you try not to result on those. I mean, I think the process was good, and the guy got an outsized amount of targets based on the number, and that's a bet that I would have made again. It's just you fall on the short side of it. Obviously, he didn't catch any thing, so the yards is going to go under. But I thought that was good. Patriots offensive line played their butts off. I mean, the only sack that Brady took all night was that one where he held it for what felt like 10 seconds. Like, that in my opinion was not on the offensive line. They made a couple tackles in the backfield, but you're talking about, in my opinion, no question, the best defensive player in the league in Aaron Donald, and a multiple time All-Pro in Ndamukong Suh. So I mean, stellar performance. I said it before the game. I think Belichick will crush McVay. The offensive genius mustered up 3 points and really nothing in the first half.
No red zone trips.
What's that? Game script. So I said no. He just didn't score. I mean, McVay is supposed to be this offensive genius and didn't do anything. So I was not impressed. I think I certainly. If you'd have told me before the game the Pats are going to score 13 points, I'd have said they lose. But, I thought it was a good game by Brady and a couple bad throws. And one happened to be in the first quarter and one happened to be in the fourth. And that really changed the tone for the Rams.
You know who's not getting any love? I'm not hearing a lot of love on the pods. Is Dante Hightower and Jason McCourty. Dante Hightower's all over Jared Goff all night. He was an absolute monster. And then there was a video I saw on Twitter today of him just absolutely lighting up Tyler Higbee on a run play. So
yeah. Did he break his hand?
I don't know. I haven't heard that yet, but He
was getting taped up and like trying to flex through it. I remember seeing that. I don't know if he got hurt, but
and Jason McCourty, he had 2 massive pass breakups. One on Cooks, another I'm forgetting the play, but another one he just came out of nowhere. And then Brandon Cooks, maybe that's why the Pats got rid of him, because he dropped 2 touchdown passes.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about just making plays. When we've lost Super Bowls, and I say we like I'm a member of the Pats. Pats have lost Super Bowls in the past. They just didn't make plays, and that was Cooks just didn't make some big plays for him. So, I'm glad he was doing it for the Rams and not for us.
Yeah, it was. I was still blown away, that all year Pats man to man, Pats man to man, Pats man to man, and then they come on, they're like, yeah, we're gonna go zone, we're just gonna throw these crazy blitz packages at you, and you're just like, hold on, and like if you're McVay, you kind of have to think in the back of your mind, hey, they're gonna give me some sort of crazy look, but it proved to what we all thought was gonna happen. It's like you got to be able to adjust very fast. They came out the gate early, and in the second half, and when Todd Gurley started going, I was like, uh-oh, what's going to happen here? Is Todd finally awaking from his slumber? But that quickly vanished. And I was so dumbfounded at McVay after the game. He's like, yeah, I got out-coached. It's like, yeah, dude, you're 33 and you're going against arguably the greatest football coach in the history of ever. It's like
the history of ever.
Like, if you win that game, like, just there's nowhere to go from there. Yeah, exactly.
Right? There's no upping from there. That whole Todd Gurley thing stinks so bad, and eventually everyone's going to find out what's going on. But that thing just reeks.
It's Malcolm Butler 2.0.
I'm stumped, honestly, because I don't think he's hurt, but
I don't think so either. Because he looked fine when he played. And he didn't play that bad.
I was licking my chops every time I saw C.J. Anderson out there. I was like, well, this is going to be either a short run or they're not throwing to him because he's not a pass catcher, and then he's the best scenario. And Warren Sharp pointed it out, another guy, he does great work. They got to get John Kelly involved in that game, because that's where the Patriots really get hurt, is quick running backs catching ball out of the backfield. It's not C.J. Anderson. That's exactly what we wanted to see out there. And they weren't going to Gurley in that pass game, and they didn't have John Kelly out there. So,
when you think oh, sorry, Scott. When you think water bug in the backfield, C.J. Anderson is not the first person that comes to mind.
Stink bug.
I was gonna say beetle, dung beetle, but close enough.
That's stink bug, dung beetle. Either way, not the first word you want to hear. Either one of those. So I got a question for you guys, because a lot of people are comparing this to the what year was it? Was it the 2011 or 2012 LSU Alabama game that finished 9-6? Scott, I know you probably just dripped every single minute of that game.
Scott, Google it real quick so you can say something about it.
I was going to say. I don't know. I must have been sick that day. I must have missed that.
So I'll ask Jared if he feels like that comparison. And Scott, I'll have a follow-up comparison for you, and then you can answer that. How about that? We'll play to everyone's strengths here. So, Jared, what do you think? How do you think it compares?
No, I think that was two of the, in my opinion, clear top talent teams in college in that year, throwing haymakers, and two very pro style. Because in college, you really have a huge dichotomy of styles between something like a spread or run and shoot or West Coast versus, like what Saban and at the time Les Miles ran with just stout defenses. And I think those things kind of play into one another. If you're 3 yards in a cloud of dust, field position, our defense is really good, and you're playing another team like that, I think that's going to kind of be the way the game plays out. Whereas I think the Patriots' strength is their offense. I think the Rams' strength is their offense. So, I think the Patriots played a not-so-great game on offense, and I think their defense really stepped up. And I would say, the same about the Rams. I think it's less about positive actions from one team as it is about inefficiencies or lacking by another team.
Mm-hmm. I was going to say, that's how I took it. I remember going to school the next day and everyone being like, that was the most boring football game ever. And if you look at both those defenses, I think at least 5 players from each starting defense was taken in the first round. Just unbelievable amounts of NFL talent on that defense. And I don't think the offenses were very good. Those are 2 stellar defenses. But just with the Super Bowl, it was very interesting. So, Scott, I'll ask you, where would this rank for you, taking away from the fact that it was the Patriots, so it makes it a little bit more exciting, but actual X's and O's, how would this Super Bowl rank to you?
Great question. I thought the defense played great. I thought the Pats offense did not dial it up until they were waiting until they got down to really open up the playbook, and they just never got down. This was ugly though. This wasn't a very entertaining game to watch. It wasn't as bad as 45 or 43-8 Seahawks Broncos a few years ago.
Sure.
Not as ugly as 24-10 Broncos Panthers, but it just wasn't pretty. It was definitely the least satisfying of the six Super Bowl wins that I've witnessed as a Patriots fan. But just glad to get the W. But it was ugly. It was ugly, and it was tough to watch because I thought they were making. So many times they were throwing out routes for 2 yards on 3rd and 8, and it's like, what are you guys doing? You never make these mistakes, and they burned 2 timeouts in the first half before the 2-minute warning, and they were playing like a young team scared. So I was just really surprised at what I was seeing, and the defense in Flores just bailed them out by dialing up a massive game plan, and Jared Goff just looking shook for most of the game. But the defense, they just played amazing.
Yeah, would they have 8 straight punts, 9 straight punts? I mean, that's why they're running 2-yard outs on 3rd and 8, because they're saying just don't, whatever. If we can break a tackle and get a first down, great. If not, we'll punt it and bow up on defense, and we'll get it back here in a couple plays.
All it takes is one massive play, one burn coverage, But I'll tell you, most amazing stat for the Pats is they gave up 10 points in the postseason in the first half. 7 of those points was on a blown coverage to Keenan Allen in the Chargers game. And they played 3 of the best offenses in the NFL, and they held them to 10 points in the first half. That's why
he got a head coaching job.
Yeah, I think he's gonna be great there as long as they get a quarterback. But I think he's gonna be a really good coach. So they'll be definitely on one of my teams to look for getting some value early next year.
Already throwing some candy out there.
Yeah, even with Tannehill, wow.
Well, no, he's gonna be gone. They're gonna get somebody. It just depends on who they get.
Maybe that could be the trip. You come down here for opening weekend, Scotty. We'll go down to Miami.
Oh, you know what? I have a full September of weddings, so actually I will not be able to. I have 3 weddings
and a baby
in September with a newborn, so a lot of fun. Oh, and they're all travel weddings.
Oh, that was me this year.
It's gonna be tough. It's going to be tough, but
that's me leading up to college football season. I got all my weddings right before college football, so that'll be nice.
So we're going to need to know where in August then, Micah, because we got to plan out our Vegas pilgrimage to register.
That's true.
So I did some more digging on the AAF today because it's opening weekend this weekend. There's 4 games, really juiced up. But how about some of these rules? First, no television timeouts. These games are meant to be played in an hour and a half to 2 hours.
I love that so much.
Hour and a half to 2 hours they're shooting for, or 2 to 2.5 hours. They want quick games, no television timeouts. So does that favor? I imagine that favors the offenses a lot more than the defenses. but I'm guessing that it's going to be run heavy, run centric. I don't know, because these are not very good quarterbacks. I don't really
Does the clock still stop? Well, first of all, are the quarters 15 minutes? I presume so.
Yes, 15 minutes.
And then it's still normal rules like incomplete pass, it stops, out of bounds, it stops, or no?
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't read the rule book, but there's no
hot off the
kickoffs.
presses yesterday.
There's no kickoffs. No kickoffs.
Well, you just get the ball at 25.
Just get the ball at 25. No extra points. It's always a 2-point conversion.
Ooh,
nice. I like that.
There's overtime. Overtime is each team gets the ball on the 10.
Oh.
And you get one shot at it. And
you get one play?
I think you might get 3 plays or 4 plays. But I'm not sure how many plays you get, but you only get one shot. So you get touchdown and then the 2-pointer. And if you both get it, tie game.
Goofy. All right. Did you I actually read this over the weekend. Did you know that California state playoff rules are the ball gets at the 50-yard line? Each team runs 4 plays, and then whatever side of the field it's on is the winner?
That's horrible.
Are you serious?
Is that gnarly or what?
That it is.
That's not even football.
Football!
So the onside kick, say you want to onside kick it, you get a 4th and 10. And if you convert, you get the ball back.
I do like that. I remember hearing that one, actually. A lot of these rules, it's actually pretty funny because, you can look back at the XFL and everything that the NFL adopted from that. It's almost like a trial ground because I know that was thrown around in rule changes for the NFL. So I think they're going to talk, it's almost like an area they can test it out and be like, okay, does this work or does this not? How do people perceive this? So that'll be interesting. I'm very excited.
That's what I think is going to be the best thing about this is, there's a lot of old coaches, and I imagine they're not going to want to change their style, but you're going to get young coaches trying to make a name for themselves, and maybe they've studied a lot of these rules, and they're like, this is how you can manipulate it. Mm-hmm. And maybe they'll find some sort of inefficiency in how these rules are set up, and they'll exploit it, and I'm sure this is ripe for taking advantage. So I'm curious of the teams in the AAF who have like a young coach, like the Birmingham Iron.
Scotty is all in on the Iron.
Oh, I am all in on the Iron, and that means they're going to be the worst team in the league. They're going to be like 0-10. It's going to be ugly.
They're only 1-point favorites this week against the Memphis Express.
Yeah.
The Memphis Express, they're definitely sponsored by FedEx. They have to be.
How can you set a line for these games? Like, you don't know what's getting trotted out there at all. But has there even been preseason?
They had one scrimmage last week, I believe.
Mike, is there any game that's bigger than lined higher than 4 or 5?
Actually, that's lined higher than 4 or 5? No, the biggest spread is 5.5, and that's for the only Orlando Apollos against the Atlanta Legends. Not the leaders, the Atlanta Legends. Yes.
And the over-unders are all goofy. It's like 44, 40,
42, and 43.
See, I feel like any team, like based on what Scott's saying, because I agree with him, any team that is getting like plus 200 or more is just an auto bet on the money line. Because you just have no clue. And these are coin flips.
I'm really good at picking coin flips.
Yeah, you are. Maybe that's a gift.
That's the gift, picking coin flips. I assume we get the games on TV here because we have a team.
Yeah,
I think there's one nationally televised game a weekend.
Well, there's only 4 games, right? 8 teams. Or is it 10 teams?
Well, 8
you can tell we're really diving deep into the content here. How many teams are?
Here's the real question. So before we get into actually trying to decipher these games, who has the best team name? So we got Atlanta Legends, Orlando Apollos, the San Diego Fleet, San Antonio Commanders, Memphis Express, Scotty's favorite Birmingham Iron, Salt Lake Stallions, Arizona Hotshots.
I'll tell you, the Stallions and the Hotshots, they're playing heads up this weekend for who has the best team name, because I love them both. But I think I like the Salt Lake Stallions the most.
There you go.
Yeah, I think the Orlando Apollos is the worst, because I don't know why they'd be called the Apollos. Like, it's Orlando. It's not the Space Coast, but
it's close enough.
It's not Houston. Like, what the heck? Yeah, makes no sense to me. Unless it's like Greek Apollos, and then it makes even less sense. How much? I would say San Diego Fleet. How much of a buzzkill is that? You like have an NFL team, they move up the road to LA, and you get an AAF team backfilling.
I will not have you slander the AAF. This is awesome.
Gives us something to do. We might have to watch the games and do a little recap show next week.
Well, it's a niche market that we could slide our greasy little fingers into. But
plus, who are we kidding? If they have lines and we got listeners, then let's do it. Let's dial it up.
I'm in. It's football, baby. Just injected right into my veins.
2 hours is good. That means I can sell that.
I know, right? Hours. It's easy. It's easy, and I can't wait to see if the stadiums will be filled. What if it's going to get any good press? If it's going to be good football, because if Christian Hacken, like, I don't even know who's starting these games. Are they going to rotate the quarterbacks if like one really has an awful first half? Like, what is going to happen?
Well, I know the
Micah
Apollos
and I might do a live report. Yeah, what time is this game, Micah? We might have to go this weekend.
I will not be there this weekend. I will not be here. I'll be in the opposing team's town.
More skiing, Micah?
No.
Do you work, bro?
Not skiing. I'm just going up to Atlanta for the weekend to see some friends.
Oh, okay.
Must be nice.
What does that mean?
The guy who was just out in San Diego, tough life, bro.
Yeah, on a baby, whatever.
It rained the whole time, and then my flight got canceled, and I took a red eye, and I got 3 hours of shitty plane sleep. T's and P's.
Yeah. Jared sounds like, now I know this is going to be talking hockey here for a second, but that's like, everyone's like, oh, Charlie Coyle, which for those of you who don't know is a forward for the Minnesota Wild, was in Turks and Caicos over the All-Star weekend, and his flight got delayed, and then it ended up being canceled, and then he had to take a bus, and then a bus could only get him so close, and they had to drive a rental car. It was just, and it's like, oh, okay, yeah, poor guy,
Did he make the game?
Yeah, he made it back, but it's just like, everyone's like, oh, poor guy. It's like, no, not poor guy. It was just in Turks and Caicos, for crying out loud.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm not a multimillionaire playing a sport for a living.
Yeah. But this will be...
Some dude.
I'm pretty hyped. But, Jared, to further the confusion about the Apollos, I'm pretty sure the logo is Apollo. I'm going to have to...
Like, for what? We're going to have to do some due diligence. Although, Spurrier is the coach, which will be quite entertaining. What's the total? Because he's going to try and score 100.
It is 100
in every game.
It's the highest total, I think, 45 and a half.
He's going to try and score 1,000,000 points in every game.
And I'm going to love every
I think we really need a deep dive. Or 44 and a half. It is
we need a deep dive. We're going to have to watch these games. I don't know anything about these teams right now. I'm about to do a little roster.
I need to see if do they even release depth charts. I need you guys are at an advantage over me because you guys actually know who these losers are who are playing because you watch college football. Maybe
John David
Florida
Booty,
Atlantic quarterback.
Oh, if John David Booty walks out on the field, I'm going to puke.
John David Booty and John Parker Wilson.
Yeah, all the old Bama wash-ups.
Nick Sims is the Birmingham quarterback.
The only players I know on these teams other than Trent Richardson, are the kickers. Nick Folk.
Nick Folk.
Oh, whoa, Nick Folk. That's a blasphemy. Do you have the rosters up, Scott, or no?
No, I was browsing them earlier today.
I was perusing them earlier. We might have to do a deep dive because Mike and I, at a minimum, will at least know where these guys played their college ball.
Oh, yeah, like Zach Mettenberg's on a team and Christian Hackenberg's on a team. Oh. Other than that, I mean, it's pretty gross. But doesn't mean I'm not excited.
I think Zach Mettenberger was the quarterback in that 6-9 game that Micah talked about.
Oh, nice.
No, it was Jefferson, number 9, right?
Oh yeah, he was a wolf.
Yeah, bad. It's literally an O, Jared, and the front part of the O for Orlando is the bow of Apollo's like bow and arrow.
What?
But that's
makes
kind
no
of
sense. The other ones, like,
the
make
Apollo
sense.
launches. Their logos were like the 3 golden horses, like of his chariot. So there's that kind of tying in. So it's all of it together, but it still makes no sense. They have it instead of the inaugural game, it's called the launch game, and it's written in like NASA letters.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
I like that.
Launch game mission 1.
Are they playing in Cape Canaveral? Like what? Aren't they playing at the Orange Bowl?
No, they're playing
or the
at
Citrus Bowl.
No, they're playing at Charter Spectrum, home of the undefeated national champions.
Arf! I'm definitely not going now.
the bounce house.
Yeah. Oh, ugh. Yuck.
It's probably also way cheaper for them to play
That's
at
true.
Charter than it is to play.
Yeah, Citrus probably charges them arm and a leg.
Yeah.
The bounce house.
Scott, this place is like a high school stadium. 2 years ago, what was deemed a safety hazard because they play Zombie Nation during kickoffs at UCF games. And I'm not kidding, like the whole place shakes. Like you're just waiting to die. It's terrible.
Nice.
Like a soccer game in Colombia, just waiting for it to collapse under your feet.
That's gonna be good.
Scott's been to a lot of soccer games in Colombia.
I don't know how we got all the way here from the Super Bowl, but that was a hell of a ride.
It was. It was a good show. I liked it. It flowed well. It was a really good time. So I guess any closing thoughts? Any closing thoughts and prayers, T's and P's?
You want me to kick it off, Scotty? I mean, I'll go cheesy again. It was an unbelievable season, primarily thanks to Mr. Scott J. Panza. So fantastic work on his part. Thanks to everyone who listens along. I mean, I've said it a million times. This is a ton of fun for us, whether there's 2 or 2,000 or 2 million people listening. So for everyone to be giving us the platform is just a blast, and hopefully that comes through in the way that you hear us kind of pinging back and forth. I mean, that's the whole goal of the show. So we'll see what happens at the AAF, but we'll definitely be back, like draft, and then we'll do something. We'll be back for college. I've had a couple people ask me about, are we going to do anything else, and we're going to talk about other sports, and I just feel like that would be ingenuous. Is that a word? Disingenuous? No, that's it.
Genuine. Oh.
Genuine.
Yeah.
We don't know anything about other sports to the degree that we know stuff about football. So, pick us back up. We'll get back in the earbuds when we got stuff cooking, and we'll talk about football. That's what we're here to do.
Don't hate on my mediocre NBA knowledge. It's there. It's just waiting. It's waiting to come out. I can't get into this NBA season, but if I get a hot tip, I'll definitely have it tweeted out. This season was awesome. Had a ton of fun on the pod. Looking forward to next season. Would love to get some feedback on what we could add to the show for next year once we get kicked off into the football season. Probably won't do deep dives on each pick next year, but we'll definitely talk, about one or two games that we really like, and share that for everyone. And Julian Edelman is not a Hall of Famer, but I do really enjoy the hot takes that are coming out as a result of it, because he's got 3 Super Bowl rings. He's had massive games in every playoffs. If you look at his playoff stats, they're ridiculous. But the infuriation of people on Twitter who get so appalled and offended that you even suggest that he's potentially a Hall of Famer is absolutely hilarious. Just get the stat nerds out there who, just want to crunch numbers all day and don't realize the impact that he has on the Pats. I mean, it's just really entertaining. So really enjoying all those hot takes. I didn't realize Isaac Bruce isn't in the Hall of Fame yet. How is that possible? He's a beast. Mm-hmm. But Yeah, AAF, we're going to be rolling deep in this league. I can't wait. I think it's going to be fantastic.
I'm very excited for it. It's like when you go to a high school reunion, which I haven't been to one yet because I'm not that old. Boom, shots fired.
I was like, what? What high school reunion have you been to? Your 6 month?
But the idea of it, like, you kind of get back in and you're like, oh, so that's what that person's doing. Like, I can't wait to watch these games and hear names that I haven't heard in like 5-6 years. And you're like, oh, you're still trying to play football. This is great. So I'm very excited for that. And I'm with Scott. I think this is something that we can dive into. And I know, Jared, if the opportunity arises to be looking at football and watching football all the time, he's going to be in. So maybe we'll
betting on football.
Yeah, we'll be swinging our way out there. Hopefully, maybe we can go to a game. Craig Can is the public address announcer for the Apollos. Just a name plug there, Jared.
Do you know who that person is?
You know who Craig Can is, Jared.
Oh, all right.
Apparently he doesn't remember. Guy used to do. He's from Golf Channel, and he was the public address announcer for our high school games.
Oh yeah, okay,
yeah. There you go. Yeah, yep. You just gotta remind him sometimes. But yeah, so lots to come here on the podcast. Obviously, just to kind of back off or rally, whatever word I want to use here, off of what those two said. Really fun year. Looking forward to next year. Please message us on Twitter if there are segments or ideas that you have. I know we had a guy on iTunes say, hey, I'd love to hear a little bit more gambling talk or, jargon, vernacular, if you will, on what, so they know a little bit more. Definitely going to try and get that coming next year. You let us know, tweet us what your questions are, and we'll definitely put them out there and answer those. So maybe we'll be those people that start a mailbag. Ugh.
There we go.
But we might do it. So for myself, Michael Larson, Jared Larson, and Scott Panza, thank you all so much. Lots of football still to come, but not NFL or college, so that is depressing. And we thank you all for your ride this year. We are out of here.
See ya.
Yeah, baby.